Who was Scotty Hamilton? Scotty Hamilton was a fun, loving, caring, huge-hearted individual that came out every day in an actual attempt to change the world. He always put forth 100% effort every time he came out here on duty.
Scotty was a Pikeville police officer and a friend, a real good friend. So I remember him by his big smile, and he always smiled. So.
Scotty Hamilton was a guy that I cherished as a friend. He was somebody that I started when I was at dispatch and worked with for many hours, many shifts together with. He was somebody that went above and beyond every day. He made sure that the public knew that he was out there serving and protecting.
He was just a pleasure to have as a son. He loved his family, he loved his community. He was very humble, and he loved his friends. He loved sports. The only time I would see his demeanor change is when he was on the football field. And he wasn't as calm then.
Scotty was a close friend to a lot of people. And some of us knew him from his first day, even before that, when he was still at Shelby Valley High School. I knew Scotty when he was in high school, so we played Call of Duty together. I refused to delete his gamer tag off of my console. It's still stuck on there. His gamer tag was Hammy111, and it stays there, and it will be there as far as I'm concerned. As long as an Xbox 360 will keep working, it's going to be embedded in my hard drive.
I was here for a short time before I went to the academy for dispatch. I had been back, I believe, for maybe 2 or 3 months, and so I had met Scotty numerous times, like before I left to go to the academy and then after I got back, because I was on the same shift. So he was actually one of the first people to come in and joke with me because I'd made a mistake on the radio. And so he instantly comes back to the station, and he came in, he was laughing and, just poking fun. So he was an amazing person.
Me and Scotty was real good friends. Actually, the first date me and my wife went on, Scotty was with me. Scotty was a big picture. If you knew Scotty, he was, he always had a smile on his face. Everywhere he went, he always had a smile on his face.
I can always remember him coming in with a smile on his face, telling jokes, and trying to be the person that would liven everybody's day up.
He loved to joke, and he liked to be joked too, but he was not very good at carrying out a joke. His jokes they backfired on him.
Scotty, while he's working, was a prankster. Probably 9 out of 10 times they got turned around and back on him, so they were funny, but we would turn him around and he'd still have a good laugh out of it. He's a good sport, he went with it. One of my funnier moments I've experienced with Scotty was he came in to work, had this big bright idea that he would let off a fart bomb that he had bought somewhere inside the police station. Little did he know how strong it was, and it literally cleared out the entire station. We had to open up doors, windows, and it took hours for that smell to get out of here. So that one kind of backfired because it kind of made a few people mad, the higher ups. Scotty was having a blast with it. He thought it was hilarious.
Scotty loved his mama better than anything. And no matter where we went, his mother's cooking was always the best. And no matter what restaurant we ate at, and I remember his mom used to make the best hamburgers. His mom made this. Nothing compared to his mommy's food. So we thought we cut up with him about that all the time, aggravating him about going in restaurants. He said, "This is not as good as my mom's," So that's one funny stories.
Scotty Hamilton, if you look up the definition of a police officer, you could see Scotty Hamilton's name right there. He made sure he done it to the best of his ability, and everything had to be so-so, from the uniform to when he was a detective. His clothes he'd wear had to be, top notch.
He was a true public servant. He was the guy that really wanted to help people. I remember an instance where we were at a shoplifter at a local store, and we came out, and I had the shoplifter in cuffs and putting him in the vehicle, putting him in the police car. And I look over, and Scotty is helping a older lady put her dog food in her car. And so he said, "Hey, she can't lift it, so I'm gonna help her." And that was Scotty. He did stuff like that all the time. Changed tires, take people, go get people's medicine when it was bad weather. Scotty volunteered for anything like that, and that was one of the things I remember about him. He was a true public servant. I don't think he ever went off duty. He wanted to make the world a better place, and he told me that several times. I want to make sure, I want to make it do good, and I want to do this job the right way, and he did.
Like I said earlier, he was always willing to go and help. Like, putting people in jail to him was not the only thing that a police officer does. To him, it was serving his community, and he took that to heart.
Scotty always wanted to make a difference with the drugs. You know, for 4 years he was undercover narc, and he likes to think that he did, and I think he did make a difference.
He wanted to make sure everybody was safe. You know, I want to make sure that I do my part, and he did that. I mean, he did that from day one and he lost his life doing it. And you know, as long as we try to keep his memory alive, that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that when we're gone, when the last ones that work with him are gone, then we still have all the Scotty memorabilia here.
During the time after Scotty was killed, you know, they've done a big thing at Rupp Arena for him. They've done it at Commonwealth Stadium at UK. I mean, he had the national spotlight at certain times. And then for the funeral, you had police officers as far as, you know, Washington, Florida, Maine, Texas. They were from everywhere. The show of support in our community really caught us off guard. We knew we had the support of the community, but at that time we didn't realize how huge it was. But the love and care that this community has for us is second to none.
Elizabeth did a great job at the police department doing the Hammy books and the Hammy stuffed animals. When I first seen the book and I was flipping through them, I told Elizabeth there was a picture on there and it looks just like Scotty. It wasn't intentional, but it was just one of those things that I feel that he's going to make sure that he is being remembered some way. And it was an officer that was smiling, helping a young Hammy. I mean, just every day that I look at something, I can find something to share his story and share his love and his drive for the police department and this community.
Our community was amazing. They just came together and showed such love and support for Scotty. And there's no word to thank them or tell them how appreciative I am that they loved my son as much as I did.
We had a call in the city, had an EMS call. Police went to it, and I was battalion chief on duty. I said, well, I'll go. Our Station 3 went, and I said, well, I'll go just to see what's going on. Scotty was one of the police officers up there, and me and Scotty was talking. And that was in between the time that Chief Comm was getting ready to retire and all this stuff. And I'll never forget this. And Scotty looked at me and he said, he was talking, he said, you gonna put in for chief? I said, yeah, I'm gonna put in for it. I said, probably won't get chief, but I hope I might get assistant fire chief. And he said, no. He said, they already got your nameplate ordered and everything. I said, Scotty, I said, you're full of it. He said, I'm telling you. He said, wait and see what I tell you. And then we talked there for a few minutes, and then I left. I left, and he left. He said, well, I'm gonna go sit in the car, call Brindley and tell her good night and everything. I said, well, Scotty, what time you get off? He said, I get off at midnight. I said, all right. I said, I'll see you later. I said, I'll see you. And I was telling my wife about, everything, because, you have to talk to people. And I was telling her about, the conversation me and Scotty had. And then when I did get chief, she wrapped my nameplate up that she got made for me. And she told me, she said, Scotty, I want you to have this. And I got it this day. And, and I know he's looking down smiling at us right now. So, and he meant a lot to the community. He was just a bigger than life character, and very good guy.
What these people needed for this town. He made sure that everybody felt special in some way. Every call, whether it be good or bad or the outcome, he made sure that they felt special and knew why he was there and that he was there for the right reasons.
He was always a happy person. He always had a smile on his face. He was always laughing. Super proud husband and father. He was loved by everybody, even the people he took to jail. They all loved him. He was a really, really great person. The guys still talk about him all the time. They're always telling funny stories. So he will live on forever with everybody who ever knew him.
You know, Scotty didn't get to spend a lot of time with that little girl, his daughter. But you could tell he absolutely adored that little girl. Loved that baby to death. That's all he talked about. And, you know, the night he was murdered, he'd actually just went and I believe bought her a toy and some diapers, you know. What time he did have with her, he adored her like none other.
We don't speak of him in a past tense. We still sit around and tell funny stories about Scotty and as if he was still here. To hold him up and to carry him in the future is to not allow the same thing to happen to someone else and to continually make Scotty look good, right? And to hold him up and to make sure people don't forget his name. He has a young daughter that she is never going to know her father. It is our job. We took on that responsibility now in being a brother in service with a police officer or with Scotty. It is our job to make sure Brindley knows her dad.
He loved Playful, you know. He was a true public servant. He protected this place, and he lost his life doing it. And you lose your friend, lose your coworker, and you lose a police officer, and somebody you see every day. And so that's why we got all this stuff up. This memorial stuff is because it kind of, you know, we see him in that, and we see, like, when it's 111, we, you know, little things, tags we run has 111, and we're like, oh, Scotty, you know, and we can look on, he's looking down on us, you know, he's up at the graveyard and we're here.
Scotty being buried right near the police station, to me, is actually a good thing. You know, every time I leave out back to go to my cruiser, I always look up to him. So just makes it easier to know if you're having a bad day. I spend a lot of times on night shift. I would just go up there and hang out, drink a cup of coffee. So to me, it's a blessing. I'm glad he is where he is.
I have good days and bad days. I'll not sugarcoat it. But my husband and I are Christians. And we put our faith in the Lord that He will give us the strength to carry on and pursue. And, you know, Scotty said, he told, when my oldest son and Scotty got off work, let's say, they would talk a lot. And my son told me that Scotty requested if anything were to happen to him or anything happened to his brother, Scotty said, I want you to celebrate my life and not mourn and go on. He said, I want you to carry on, and hopefully I have made my place in this world. The Lord took him. He was 35. But you know, when Jesus was crucified, he was 33. And I think, you know, well, the Lord needed his son back, and he needed my son. So I feel like he's working for the Lord right now. That's what keeps me going.